You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh, yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And good morning, this is Mike Lodge. I'm glad that you've joined me. I tell you, this is our first day back at work. Brand new year, 2021. I'm looking forward to it. I like what I'm seeing on my schedule for work. It's getting filled up for the first week. I like it. So I wanted to come on today, and I wanted to talk about an issue that's very important. I mean, it's very important to me. And it's because I deal with it so much in mediation. And I deal with businesses who are having conflicts. And you know what normally drives that conflict is usually ethics. It's the way that we deal with people, the way that we deal with vendors, the way that we deal with contracts, the way that we deal with our partners in business. Ethics is so very important to keep a business on track. If you don't have a written ethics plan for your business, get it done, because it needs to happen. You want to start the year on a good note. And that means that all of your employees and yourself and your partners and your CEOs and your board of directors, they need to be thinking about ethics on how they conduct their business. I tell you, one bad, unethical decision, and it's usually a choice, can destroy your whole reputation of the company. Look at so many companies who have done unethical business things and it literally destroy their reputation. Where you sit back and you say, I don't know if I really want to do business with that company again. I think that a lot of us are looking at, especially politicians. Do we really want to deal with those politicians again because they're so unethical? I don't think I know of an ethical politician out there. I hate to say this, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever you may be, I haven't seen any ethical indication from you that you do things correctly. Sorry, but that's the truth. And that is the problem that we don't want to have with the reflection on our businesses on unethical practices within. And it starts from the top and it works its way down to the very bottom. And there has to be those discussions on ethics. There has to be training on ethics, ethical procedures, ethical practices within your company. If you want to have a successful 2021, start with ethics. And if you are an individual who is unethical, become ethical. Because if you don't, your reputation is tarnished. And the only asset that you have is your reputation. So if you're going to do business, do your work professionally. Do it in the way that people will look at you and say, you know what, I want to do business with that individual because he keeps his promises. He does what he says that he's going to do. In fact, he even goes far and beyond. He operates ethically. That's the individual, that's the company that you want to do business with. If you're a sole proprietor or if you're a small business and if you are not responding to your clients' needs, you're being unethical. If you are procrastinating on your, that's a hard word by the way, procrastination, it's because I'm guilty of it a lot, especially during the lockdown. But if you are procrastinating on your client work, responsibility, responding to their needs, you're acting unethically. One of those two words. You're just unethical. You're not ethical. The words that we use, the actions that we work in, the responses that we give have got to have an ethical thought process. And it's not that difficult, I'm telling you, to think ethically. I've seen a lot of businesses in my lifetime, since I've been in business since 1984, and I've dealt with a lot of different people. I've dealt with different partners in business. And once you get to that unethical point where you're bending the rules and you're trying to make a little extra money off of unethical activity, it always catches up to you. Either it's a legal action, or it's a reputation issue, or it's just that you are a lousy person to do business with and no one wants to do business with you, so you get blackballed. Now, blackballing people is unethical too. But that's what happens because people see unethical behavior from a company, a business, an individual. I want each and every single one of you, if you're a small company, if you're just a one-man operation, to hundreds of people, make sure that your company has a ethics procedure, ethics plans. I love some of these accounting firms that I've seen in their ethical statements. And they're always stating that you need to ask the question, make the statement. If you feel that it's unethical, ask, say something, do something. If a company has an ethical procedure and you post that onto your website and people see that you want to operate ethically and you practice what you preach, you will go a long way in building your business. But if they see that you're kind of, I'll give you a good example, okay? I was doing a review on a company, and I was looking at their website because I do due diligence on companies for various clients, and so I was looking at this one company, and as I was looking at the website, all of a sudden I felt as though that there was something that they were trying to hide. They did not show who their managers were. They did not want to show any names. The individual that they had as a secretary was an individual that should not have been a secretary of the company at all, because she didn't have the legal standing to be a secretary. So when you see things like that of companies, and you see that they're kind of operating shady, and you can usually tell by looking at someone's website, if they're unwilling to say who their leadership is, that tells you a lot about that company. They don't want you to know who to blame, or to talk to, or to bring up issues that you need to talk about. And if you have a relationship with a company like that, it kind of makes you feel, okay, something is wrong here. And you see that a lot. A lot of people don't want people to know who they are. They want you to do business with them, but they're unwilling to tell you who is running that business, what's their background, what's their response, what's their education, what's their certification, what's their et cetera, that you're looking for that is adaptable to your business. If that if that company cannot even show what kind of people that are behind their company, there is a problem, and it's unethics. It's unethical. I don't know why I'm having a hard time pronouncing those words or using them in the right context. Maybe my coffee just was not strong enough this morning. But you look at these companies and you see that they have a website, but they don't want to tell you anything about who's running it. And that is a problem. Because you want to make sure, you want to feel comfortable, you want to feel safe that that company has the right people behind them that are going to support your business or your business relationship. But we see that a lot. When people are trying to hide, they're trying to hide other stuff too. So I'm asking every single business out there, listen, if you don't have an ethics statement, or if you do not have a policy on ethics in your company, sit down and do it today. Make sure that all of your employees sit down with you and you go over that ethics policy so that everybody is on the same page from the top down. Everybody has to know what your ethics policy is, because they have to practice it every single day. And when they see that senior management is not practicing that ethics policy, and not acting ethically or responsibly, it trickles down, because everybody else says, well, if he's not doing it or she's not doing it, then I'll do it. Look at countries that are third world countries, where if you go to the taxation departments, the way that you settle things is under the table. Take a few bucks out, pass it under the table, get things done. Everybody knows that tax department is unethical. It's the most unethical portion of that government, but they do it anyway. And it keeps going on and on. And then when they go to another country, they bring that same practice along with them, and they say, well, this is how we do it. This is how we should do it in the United States. No, unethical practices and procedures should never be practiced. Now, I have each and every single one of us have been touched by some type of unethical act. I have been touched by unethical acts in my business experience. And let me tell you, it puts up red flags on, after you've been touched by it, it puts up red flags on really doing due diligence on the people that you hire and the people that you're doing business with and the people that you're contracting with, the board of directors that you bring in, what are their backgrounds, what are their experience levels, have they had any type of conflict or disputes based upon unethical behavior. The question has always got to be asked and always got to be focused on by a company as a whole. Not just one person, but it takes a whole company to adapt and adopt good ethical practices. From the top to the bottom. From the chairman of the board all the way down to the janitor. Everybody has got to adopt good ethical practices. And I bring this up at the very beginning of the year because if you look at 2020, we saw a lot of unethical behavior. We saw it in politics, we saw it in business, we saw it all over the board. And I think that we've lost our way when it comes to ethical practices as individuals and also as businesses. And we've got to get back into that. Because if you look at the unethical practices that have been mandated by government down on small businesses, it destroyed businesses. Not based on science, forget about that. They keep spouting science, but they don't even know what science is. But they did it because they wanted a control factor. They wanted to have an unethical behavior that hurts other people under the disguise of government. So we saw this. We saw unethical practices. We saw bad numbers. We saw all kinds of different things happening in this world. So when we get to 2021, we have got to start putting in ethical practices within ourselves, within our businesses, within our churches, within our schools, within every organization and entity that's out there. We have got to hold people accountable for unethical practices. And that is the problem. We have gone for way too long not holding people accountable, especially in government. And all of us will believe in that wholeheartedly. But here we are today, first week of going back to work, 2021. Let's think ethically. If you don't have a policy, get one together. So, that is my lecture for the beginning of the year, is that we have to operate our businesses better, ethically, soundly, and be focused on end results. One bad ethical move can destroy a whole company, can destroy a whole individual. Let's really focus on it for 2021. Listen, if you have any questions or comments, or if you want me to talk about a business subject, send me a text at 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. Or send me an email at info, at lodge, lodge-co.com. If you would like to help support my ongoing content that I work on every single day, my blogs, my vlogs, my podcast, help support me on Buy Me a Coffee, www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge, and that will help me along. It's not very much, just a few bucks, $1, $2, $5. Listen, 2021 is going to be a good year. You and we're going to do a lot of things. And we are going to be the best business people ever. And we're not going to let government control what we're doing. That is the number one objective of 2021. Get government out of our lives. Because we need to be able to focus on our business. So government, if you're listening to me, get out of our way. Because we're coming forward. We're going to hold you accountable for your unethical behavior. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you very soon. Everyone, have a great first week of 2021. This podcast is produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content. Everybody, 2021, it's our year. Let's go for it. Fight on.